Radical Radio Collective.
4ZZZ. Good afternoon, listeners. You're tuned into 4ZZZ 102.1 FM. This is Eco Radio, Australia's longest running peace and environment radio show. Andy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just say yes.
We are taking over your middle of the day, middle of the week, start to middle of the month.
Getting close to the middle of the month, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, my name is Dave. My pronouns are he, him.
And I'm Andy. My pronouns are he, him.
And I want to start off by acknowledging and paying my respects to the custodians on the country in which we broadcast. We're located in the city of Mungingin, or Mianjin, on Turrbal Yagara Yugapa land. I also want to acknowledge and pay my respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who are listening in today. Our radio waves reach Kabi Kabi and Yinabara country in the north, Waka Waka country in the west. In the east, we pay our respects to the Quandamooka people, and down south we reach the Commanmary, Nagaragwal, Mananjali, Wanjarabara, Yugambeh and Bunjalung countries. I want to say thank you to No Idea, Max's masterful changeover timing is really impressive. I also loved the bridge playlist. I wasn't aware that there were so many good bridge songs.
No, neither did I. So I didn't manage to hear the Triffids coming in. So, yeah, that was a nice surprise.
Yeah. I also loved Peter's wave talk. You know, the fact that waves can move so fast is fascinating. And recently I read the book Sea People by Christina Thompson, which tells the story of how Pacifica people travelled from Hawaii to Aotearoa. But one of the most interesting things in that book was that Pacifica people learned how to navigate the ocean through reading the swells in the water.
Yep.
And the currents, and reading, and that was how they would navigate between islands.
Yeah.
And it's just, I've spent a lot of time at sea in my younger days. Swells can be so confusing to read. You can have cross swells, you can have large swells, you can have small swells. I just think it's an amazing skill that they developed and that they're relearning. Since the 70s and 80s, they've been initially they learnt from sea people in Micronesia, and now they're integrating that into their indigenous knowledges to travel between islands and go all the way from Hawaii to Aotearoa is fascinating.
You just have to look at the Pacific Ocean, it's not a lot of land masses there, and what there are is like tiny little dots. So it's really quite amazing how they managed to do that and colonise so many islands in the Pacific. It is
really, it's like trying to throw a dart at a dartboard, but that dartboard is, 12 kilometres away. It's just... It's so difficult, and they were able to do it, read it on, it wasn't weather dependent.
Yep.
They could read it on cloudy days. They could read it on sunny days. I'm sure they also travelled by the stars at night. But during the day, that's a long time to travel. To read the swells to navigate your way through the ocean is
incredible.
Yeah, it is absolutely incredible. Today on the show, however, we're not talking about swells. We are going to be talking to the Community Alliance for Responsible Planning, Redlands, or CARP. Their spokesperson, Lavinia Wood, we're going to be talking about the recently approved Birkdale Whitewater Centre. We will talk about how this Olympic venue has been given the green light, also without having to abide by the EPBC Act.
Right.
And the threats it poses to the environment. So this is another, just push for development in an ever-increasing fragmented landscape.
Yeah, And it's just amazing how much leeway that the Olympic organising committee or whatever the group is that's taken over Barrambin.
Geico, yeah.
And so they don't have to go through any of the environmental approvals or heritage approvals or anything like that.
No, there are stipulations, and we will get into that. They are just given the green light. It seems without community consultation, things like that. So, we'll be talking about that and the plight of Redland koalas. I also want to thank you, Andy, for keeping the show running last week. Both Andys, Andrew Bartlett and Andy here, for taking over the show last week and having a fantastic discussion about emissions reduction fund with the ANU Professor Don Butler. Thank you for that.
Oh, no worries.
My biggest takeaway from that was that I think Don said it is what the government saw as the cheapest and most effective way, cheapest and easiest way to get to a emissions reduction or to get to net zero. But to do that, there has been a lot of, shall we say, creative ideas on how we can store carbon, including mapping out a desert and saying that will be reforested.
Yeah, exactly.
Without any input by humans.
Yep.
It's not like we're doing the green belt or the try and fix desertification.
Yep.
We'll leave this area as it is, and eventually there'll be a forest.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things. I think there's been some really clever accounting on the government side to try and almost fudge the figures to make sure that we're on track with our carbon. But the other thing I want to mention was that I noticed in the conversation that an article came out just over the weekend from another ANU person saying that the human-induced regeneration was actually having a good effect, that removing the grazing was seeing that there were plants regenerating, but it failed to account that Don Butler's argument that rainfall was the key indicator, the key thing that was driving regeneration in those areas.
Right.
So this article in the conversation didn't mention that we have had a run of good seasons the past few years out that way and are seeing regeneration. So
yeah.
But very timely that article popped up over the weekend.
Yeah, they must be listeners to 4 Z, specifically Eco Radio. You're listening to Eco Radio on 4 Z. My name is Dave. I'm here with Andy.
Hello.
And we just heard then from Israel Kamakawali with Over the Rainbow. And that was requested by my next guest, Lavinia Wood, who is a spokesperson for the Community Alliance for Responsible Planning in Redlands. Thank you, Lavinia, for joining us.
Good afternoon to you both.
CARP is the organisation. Can you tell us about the recently approved Birkdale Whitewater Centre and the community precinct going in Birkdale?
Yes, I can. And I really appreciate your interest in this. Perhaps the best way to start is to talk about Olympic legacy, Dave. You know, the Olympic Games and the Olympic movement is very big on legacy. That is, the gifts that the Olympic Games will bequeath the community for intergenerational benefit. Well, in terms of the people of the Redlands, the tragic Olympic legacy for us will be the ongoing financial burden of an Olympic whitewater venue we did not want on special conservation lands where it should never have been.
Right.
And by that I mean the special conservation lands are the Birkdale Community Precinct, the 62 hectares of land on which the Whitewater Centre will, if it goes ahead, will be sited. The Whitewater Centre is a part of the Birkdale Community Precinct. It's not the entirety of it. it's a very long story and quite complicated, but the people of the Redlands did not ask for and did not want an Olympic Whitewater Centre. And in fact, most people didn't know or don't know what a whitewater centre is. It's a very esoteric sport. It is effectively the replication of a wild mountain river in a concrete channel down which people either paddle with a single paddle or paddle with a kayak paddle in a competitive context. So it's surging whitewater. So this thing has been forced upon us. It was the idea of the previous council, who took steps to purchase the Birkdale Community Precinct, who made commitments to the 2021 Olympic bid by the Brisbane authorities, by the Brisbane Collective, and effectively committed us to having this facility without asking the people. And when we say the ongoing financial burden, we know that these facilities don't make money. In fact, they cost a lot of money. The one that they built for Athens and the one they built for Beijing, for example, are both concrete swamps. They sit empty. Not used at all.
We did build one for the Sydney 2000 Olympics.
Yes, we did.
How do we learn from what happened with that whitewater facility?
Well, we know that was owned and operated by Penrith City Council for over 20 years, prior to the 2000 Olympics, and then after that. They lost the money the majority of the time, and significant money. What finally happened is July 1st, 2023, they were able to offload the Penrith Whitewater Centre to ownership by the New South Wales government. So that local government finally got rid of it. These facilities, Dave, if we're going to have them, need to be owned by the state government. They are loss-making facilities. They're huge loss-making facilities. So just like Suncorp Stadium, for example, a whitewater centre should be owned by the Queensland government. But no, we've got a deal in which the previous council decided that they would give the land for free. They would agree to own and operate the centre after the Olympics indefinitely. And not only that, but provide, I think it was 50 million plus worth of headworks in order to put it in. So as one of the Olympic venue review reports said, this is value for money from the state government's point of view. They probably can't believe their luck, really. But anyway, this was the proposition. And so what we've got is when I say that's part of our Olympic legacy, is this venue we didn't want. Mm-hmm. The other part of that is, and that's the financial burden. It'll go on and on costing us money. The other part of it is it will be placed on those special conservation lands which should never have been. When the community was finally asked what we might want to have on the Birkdale Community Precinct, what we said was we wanted to protect nature, nature conservation. We understood the value of those lands, and that was, when we were, given choices, that was the highest value. As part of this consultation, the Redlands City Council at the time didn't even ask a straight question. They didn't list whitewater as a single opportunity or option. They bunged it in with three other things: a new swimming pool, water play, adventure sports precinct, and Olympic whitewater. So if you happen to figure we needed a new pool, or you wanted water play for your kids, or you wanted adventure sports, you inadvertently were supporting, or directed to support, whitewater.
Yeah, right. It's a bit of a
push polling, perhaps, or something similar.
Maybe. But anyway. One of the requirements for not having to abide by the EPBC Act is that the council and state government must not clear or construct within a conservation area or the avoidance area. On the map that I've seen, the conservation area is forested, and what I assume is that the construction area for the community area, the precinct is already cleared. So if I'm understanding this correctly, the construction won't clear any forest on this site. But what you're saying is that the people of Redlands City Council wanted this area to become forested.
Well, what we know is that the habitat that is there now is mapped as core koala habitat by the Queensland state government. But the really important thing about this patch of land is it sits, in geological terms, it sits over what is called the Petrie Formation. And in large part, the Petrie Formation comprises unconsolidated soils, Dave. And what that means is the water percolates through. And in the percolating through, it becomes an aquifer, or groundwater. And it is this groundwater that sustains the core koala habitat. And we know that building an industrial-scale whitewater centre entails excavation. The one they built in Paris, for example, took out 50,000 cubic meters. And then built up 30,000 cubic meters to get the height, the fall they needed for this, the slope that had pushed the water down the hill. So what we understand is that if they build this thing, firstly, the build is going to require dewatering. So they're going to make sure there's no water getting to that habitat by dewatering the land in order to get the build. And then secondly, as they push into the aquifer, we are expecting that it will be damaged and damaged badly. Not only that, but they will be concreting over the surface. It's not just the Whitewater Channel. There's all the adjacent parking and services and everything else. So they will significantly change the capacity of the earth to do what it's doing now to sustain the core koala habitat.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
It's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. And again, in the context of all of this facility that the people of Redlands don't want, and sincerely don't want. A majority of people, we ask time and time again, make it very clear. But that has been consistently ignored.
There was a consulting process. They had a water quality groundwater expert come to make a decision, I guess. Dr. Trevor Johnson, he said that the precinct would not adversely affect groundwater levels or downstream ecological systems. Has there been any independent reviews of this area by experts?
With due respect to the experts who've had a look at this, we think it hasn't been adequate. That the look that was taken was inadequate. That as I mentioned earlier, the water percolates up and down through this. It depends on the point of time in which you are doing the testing and how much testing you're doing. I mean, this kind of work should be done over years, so you understand what happens over time on this site. And that certainly has been the advice that we've gotten from our hydrogeologists, that there has been some work done, and I have no intention to disrespect the individuals doing it, but that the degree of testing and the longevity of the testing has been inadequate. The other thing to comment on here is, unlike the Penrith Whitewater Stadium, which was built for Sydney 2000, as you said, which is surrounded by the massive Penrith Lake system, Dave, there's actually no natural water supply on that site.
Right.
That was my question to you, Lavinia. This is Andy here, by the way. I know that.
Hi, Andy.
Hey, a lot of the Redlands area, they actually get, I think it's more than half of their water supply from an aquifer on North Stradbroke Island. So I was just, wondering, how they're going to have so much water available to have this facility. The swimming pools and the white water,
the lagoons, the white water that's constantly running and has to be clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, lagoon is another word and another topic, and we can come back to that if we have time. To answer your question, yes, some time ago, Redlands City Council, or the then Shire Council, created independent water supply by tapping into the water table that sits below Strati, or below, which was fine. However, when we hit the drought some years ago now, the state government decided to tap us into the grid. So we're now plugged into the entire Southeast Queensland water grid. So the water supply for Whitewater will be that, as far as we can ascertain, and in as much as, and we're talking massive amounts of water, 18 to 25 million litres. That's 7 to 10 Olympic pools to fill this thing. And we also know that the expected evaporation level is equivalent to the entire contents annually.
Yep.
So you're both silent. That's a big number, isn't it?
Yeah. It's huge, yeah.
And that, as far as we can ascertain, that they will have to tap into the potable water, the Southeast Queensland potable water grid, to do that. There is some mention in the council's referral that topping up, quote unquote, could be done 70 metres down by drilling into the water table. Now, the water table is different to the aquifer, right? The aquifer sits above and the water table is 70 metres down. But we could see no confirmation of any capacity for that to actually deliver those 18 to 25 million litres, nor had there been any testing about the consequences of sucking that much water out of the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In an environmental context, you can see where this is evolving, can't you? It's just not only the notion of using the potable water, but evaporating that much water in the context of we're populating the hell out of Southeast Queensland and beyond. More and more people are going to be drawing down on water supply, but we're going to put this thing there to evaporate that much. Who knows how many households that would supply? I should be able to tell you, and I know a colleague of mine worked it out, but it's just astonishing.
It is astonishing, and we got a text in from Celestica that asks, when is someone going to do an inquiry into the IOC? Lavinia, you've emailed and sent letters to the IOC about this. What was their response to you?
Silence, radio silence.
Yeah.
And I have to say, I'm the president of CARP, the Community Alliance for Responsible Planning, but I also am the spokesperson for a greater alliance of 6, including CARP, other community organizations that was formed some 5 years ago to try to stop this from happening. So, we have significant capacity within our organizations and those supporting us to deliver the science, to deliver the product, to deliver the common sense argument and evidence that says this is not a good thing. And in that context, we have written to, and I'm serious, I'm kid you not, everyone from the Prime Minister down.
Yep.
Everyone. And while we have had some response at some levels, largely across the board, the modus operandi has been radio silence.
Yeah.
But can on a more cheerful context, can I please tell you about the Senate's inquiry into Australia's preparedness to host Commonwealth, Olympic and Paralympic Games?
Just quickly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, only because that was the first responsible entity which actually listened to what we were saying, looked at the evidence we were saying, and in fact, their conclusion in terms of Whitewater was that the community was being misrepresented as wanting it, and not only that, but Australia does not need and cannot sustain a second Whitewater facility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a really good point. We talked at the start of the interview about there being the Penrith Whitewater facility that's still in use from the Sydney 2000 Olympics, but that politicians and the IOC generally say not to build new facilities.
Well, What's really delightful is the New South Wales state government put some $3 or $4 million into upgrading Penrith. You know, it had been kind of an aging old girl, to the point that it hosted the World Canoe Kayak Championship last year. You know, and our magnificent paddlers, the Fox sisters, were there and very happy. It's their home venue. It's where they largely learn to paddle. It's a brilliant facility.
Still world class.
Yep.
A world class, absolutely world class. And the really important thing is and this is so ironic, the International Olympic Committee some years ago wrote what they call the new norm policy, because they, quite rightly, were recognizing that there has been a proliferation of effectively white elephant facilities across the world as a result of the demands of Olympic Games to build facilities that communities cannot sustain. Just simply cannot sustain. So their policy says, use existing, even if in another country. So, I mean, we could have gone to New Zealand for the Brisbane 2032 Games.
I mean, their whitewater facilities, I imagine, are pretty amazing.
Yeah. But we have Penrith, which is only 1,000 kilometres down the road. As you may know, in Paris 2024, of course, they held the surfing in Tahiti.
Yeah.
You couldn't get much farther away from Paris to Tahiti.
Yeah, but right.
That's a stellar example. Interestingly, in Winter Olympics context, the luge, which is that frozen track down which they hurtle on various apparatus, is an equivalent. It's an equivalent facility. It's highly expensive, very esoteric. You know, only a handful of people do this stuff. Not of much use to the community at all. You're not going to hurl your toddler down there, are you? And so these things have been highly contentious as well in the Winter Olympic context. So it's what it is, you guys, is screaming common sense. And in fact, in fairness to Anastasia, who did this bid, the initial bid was about using existing facilities. Although Whitewater had been promoted as a new one, which is different again, but largely it was supposed to be what the new norm policy says, which is to be frugal about this, use what you've got, host a great Olympics and stuff that's already built.
Yeah, it would be nice. How can people find out more about CARP and about the work that you do, Lavinia?
Just Google CARP Redlands. It should pop up. We don't have a huge social media presence. We don't have time to maintain that, but you can find us through Googling that. We're happy to make contact if they wish, and it also has a little bit about what we've done over the years.
Okay, thank you very much for joining us today, Lavinia.
It's been my absolute pleasure. I really appreciate your interest. Thanks for asking.
Absolutely.
Are you a local business, venue or community group with a little extra to spend before the end of the financial year? Recent research has shown that more than 5 million Australians listen to community radio each week, and that more than 1 million of those listeners purchase music, tickets or merchandise after hearing about it on community radio. Why not organise a sponsorship campaign on 4ZZZ and promote what you do within our community? Contact sponsorship at 4ZZZ.org.au to discuss your sponsorship campaign.
Welcome back. You're on 4ZZZ. This is Eco Radio. My name is Dave.
And I'm Andy.
And we just heard then from the Dead Maggies with Goodbye Gondwana Land. I absolutely love that song, but it is heartbreaking. The idea that we are losing the natural environment that we know.
Yep.
Long after we go, there'll still be nature around, but it's the rate at which we're losing, especially in this country, and especially actually in Queensland, the rate at which we're losing mammals and other living creatures is, diabolical. It is absolutely heart-wrenching. I was actually walking around Victoria Park with DJ Oz on Sunday, DJ Oz from the famous randomised show, and we were just seeing the cordoning off of green space to everyone for the profits of a few, and I get angry. I see that our green spaces are being chopped up. Birkdale Community Precinct is a disused farm,
yep,
but could be a forested koala habitat. Like, it could be the koala habitat that is there could be extended.
Yep.
And there is no way that we are going to have koalas bounce back from endangered to, I don't know, vulnerable probably, but to eventually be plentiful, which is what I'd love, if we keep on, if we don't keep giving them extra space to grow, to thrive.
Exactly right.
And Owen told me this story. Sorry, DJ Oz told me this story. He was in Europe and he was seeing all these big bird nests on people's houses, on buildings, people building platforms for these birds, which he'd said were storks. Storks bring babies. They're a sign of good luck. And people encourage them to live side by side with them. And it's obviously a long, an ancient traditional thing going back to pagan roots. And people encourage animals to live side by side, even though, they might block up a chimney with their nests, or, there's bird poo everywhere. People want that because they see it as good for their family and good for themselves.
Yep.
I think the way we see animals in Australia, and I am speaking, purely as a, Anglo-Celtic dude, I guess, we see him as a nuisance. There's a possum in my roof. The bloody possums kept me up. There's a scrub turkey that's scratching up my yard, or scratching up my veggies. The possum, it's eaten half of my pineapple.
Yep.
Ormiston College, right? There's a koala in the area we want to clear. What a nuisance.
Yeah.
What a fantastic thing to have a koala next to your school.
Yeah, exactly.
Resume that area, take that area, build a children's, walking track, so you can go watch the koalas.
Yeah. I think that's an important thing, to me, Western society has really tried its best to remove ourselves as nature, seeing nature as the enemy, something that we had to battle against, and we
conquer.
Conquer. So we definitely don't live in harmony with the nature around. Aboriginal Australians sure did. And the environment was a big part of their cultural traditions, but Western culture was not. It's something to be feared, something to be conquered, something to be separate of. And I think now some individuals, like the people who are getting the stork nests on their houses, are seeing that for thousands of years Europe's been cleared of vegetation, and these areas having the artificial nesting points are probably quite important to maintain the continued existence of that species. And why can't we do the same with koala? We've seen over the last 20 years enormous population growth down in the Redlands area, seeing areas of farmland being converted to high density or medium density residential areas. The remaining areas of koala habitat down there being broken up and disconnected from each other. To the point where people who were used to seeing koalas in the local park are just not seeing the koalas there anymore.
No.
So you definitely hit the nail on the head about seeing native species as pests and something that are a nuisance. Ibis, for example. Classic example.
I love that we live in a place with large mammals, bats, and birds that are just around us. Brushstone curlew, it's a fantastic example. I would say on this we like to be separate, except when we're showing international people the wonders of Australia.
Oh, yeah.
We love to bring out a koala when it's time for the Olympics.
Yep.
We love to take people to go see kangaroos. You know, maybe it's down at Wakehole on in the prison yards.
Yep.
We love to show that off, except when it comes to development or your house or your veggies.
So yeah, it's definitely we're showing it off. Like, look over here, look over here. Like these are our icons that we love to promote, but behind closed doors, it's a completely different situation.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
just a shame, I acknowledge that we do need additional housing areas, but a lot of developments, they want to maximise the amount of area that they can sell for housing and stuff, and that comes at the detriment of trees. And so, I guess it's an economic thing that they've looked at. Can we have so many more housing lots and no trees versus larger housing lots with some remnant trees remaining? They probably decided that, people would probably pay more to have established trees than planted Alexander palms everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think it's just an economic thing that they decided, no, we've just got to flatten it all and have as many houses in there as possible.
Yeah, and look, it's not as cut and dry as houses over environment or environment over houses. Like, I don't want people to have to live in apartment blocks that are just separated from any type of nature. You might get a balcony if you pay enough. But there has to be a compromise.
No,
and
definitely.
There just doesn't seem to be a compromise when it comes to the environment.
No, I totally agree. And we probably don't have time for this today, but there is this phenomenon called plant blindness, where people in built-up environments don't see the plants around them. They might walk past street trees a couple of times a day, but they just don't register that it's a plant. It's a tree.
Really?
Yeah, they just don't see that at all. It's just part of the built environment as far as they're concerned. So that's a big thing, like especially in very built up areas, and trying to get that connection back to nature that a lot of people have come so distant from as well. So
that's our new ranting section of the show. I didn't mean to be so preachy, everyone, but it really it irks me. It hurts me, actually.
There's this whole paradigm in urban forestry. It's called 330-300. I don't know if you've heard that.
No, I haven't.
So they say that in a suburb, every resident should be able to see 3 mature trees, 3 adult trees. There should be 30% canopy cover within a suburb, and any residents of that suburb should be within 300 metres of a green space.
And this is like the optimal...
Yeah, it's optimal. It's a paradigm, so it's not something that is in place, but that's what urban foresters are saying that is the ideal situation for urban areas, is to have that 330-300 rule.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, I'd actually really like to live... have you seen those pictures, those old pictures of swagmen that have built their camp inside of a hollowed out eucalyptus? I think that's the optimal way to live. But anyways, we've got to move on. If you like what we do here on Eco Radio, or more generally on 4ZZZ, you please become a subscriber. That's how we keep the lights and the radio waves transmitting to your ears. If you sign up, subscribe for a year this month, June, you can get a $150 gift card or voucher for Sonic Sherpa. Sonic Sherpa is the record store, CDs and everything, books down at Stone's Corner there. And they're our sub giveaway prize for this month. If you want to subscribe, where can people go, Andy?
They can go to our website, which is www.4zzz.org.au/support.
Bingo. And yeah, as little as $25 or as much as $300, or as much as $500, sorry. And please become part of the family. Let's go to a song now. There's actually a lot of environmental names in the hot bin this week. We're going to go with the paper daisies, which is a beautiful little plant here in southeast Queensland, and is a great butterfly host plant. I forget which butterfly, but it's a great butterfly host plant. You're listening to 4ZZZ Eco Radio.
Are you renovating, restocking your classroom craft stash, building a sci-fi film set, looking for an out-of-the-ordinary material to complete your art project? Conveniently located in Woolloongabba, Reverse Garbage Queensland is a treasure trove of raw material for every kind of creative. It's like a hardware, craft and office supply store all in one place, at half retail price or less. Add an extra 10% off with a 4ZZZ sub-discount. Everything in-store is industrial discard from around Brisbane, so when you buy something, you're saving it from landfill. Reverse Garbage is a proud 4ZZZ subscriber discount outlet.
And we thank them for that. If you are looking to do some projects, I'm betting, actually, all my money that Reverse Garbage Queensland has exactly what you need to do that project. My favourite thing in the store at the moment is framing timber. So as I do art, so I'm always in need of framing timber. We did get a text in from Owen, DJ Oz.
Hey.
He's giving us an update on Victoria Park, Barrambin. They have started to put in survey pegs.
Right.
So they've started to survey the area.
All right, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they've got an actual design yet. So
No, which is weird. Also, Mark texted in, I love the new Urco radio. Rant on, brother. Thanks very much, Mark. We'll do our best. But to go with now, we've got the Bushcare Roundup. It goes a little something like this.
It's a Bushcare Roundup. They've been pulling out weeds and then they put in trees. It's the Bushcare Roundup.
Andy, can you kick us off with the first half?
Sure. Tomorrow at 1:30 to 3 o'clock, there is a Bioblitz talk with Matt Cecil at the Archerfield Wetlands, Durack. So I'm not sure if that's summarising a Bioblitz or talking about the Bioblitz concept.
Yeah, I think it is talking about the Bioblitz concept.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Yep. Sorry, go on.
Oh, no, Bioblitzes are great. If no one knows what they are, they get a group of scientists, science-type people together, experts in their relative fields, and a lot of citizen scientists come along, and you just try to document as much as of the biodiversity in an area as possible in a set amount of time.
Fantastic. Friday, 1500, 3 o'clock, you can go to the Growing Forward Kurilpa Commons Working Bee. That's 250 Boundary Street, West End.
And on Saturday the 13th at 9 o'clock in the morning, Repair Café, Woolloongabba, 7 Burke Street, Woolloongabba. I'm not sure what that is.
That's where you can book an appointment, and you can say if your radio's on the fritz,
right,
you can go in there, you'll talk to an expert and help you fix your radio.
Awesome.
Or iron, or bike, or darn socks, it's a whole bunch of different things.
Will they repair my life?
Actually they will. They will repair your life, Andy.
Right. Okay, at 1:30 on Saturday, it's the S.O.S Barrambin gathering at Ibis Island at Barrambin Victoria Park. Yeah,
that's still going on. There's still actions going on to save Victoria Park, in case you're wondering. On Sunday, the 14th at 7 o'clock, you can go to the Birds Queensland outing. That's Oxley Creek Common in Rocklea. At 8:30, you can go to the Kholo Creek Catchment Group Working Bee. That's at Mount Crosby. At 9 o'clock, you can go to the Friends of Plunkett Conservation Park Bushcare Working Bee. It's in Cedar Creek. And at 1 o'clock, you can go to the 6 Words for a Free Palestine Action Day. That's at King George Square in the city. Thank you so much for listening in today. Please stick around and listen to the feedback loop with Amy and Soph. I'm excited to hear what Smashing Pumpkins song they're going to play. You're listening to 4ZZZ. This has been Eco Radio.
Radical Radio Collective.
4 000.